Let's talk about graphic design and wealth advisory practices. Seriously? I promise you there's a connection. Do you ever get tired of being the rainmaker? Does it all feel like it sits right on your shoulders? This is why I wear shoulder pads, people. What about feeling like, do you like my rain? Well, hello. Whoa. How are we now? Volume good? Do you ever feel like every single decision, the important ones, still have to go through you and it's all sitting on your shoulders? Now, you don't need to wear shoulder pads, but you do need something to help you. Something that is going to help expand your rainmaking success and help you grow your practice, but that's also going to reduce your worry about still having to see everything. You gotta build a smart safety net. Not just any old safety net. What you need is a graphic design safety net. Okay, do you think I'm the only one here that you're gonna look at and say, why is this woman up here? Give me a little bit of time. But you're gonna look at me and say, seriously, Randy? We are wealth advisors. What do we know or care about graphic design? This is what we want, really? Yep, this is what you want. Graphic design, when you think about it, do you think about these things up on the screen? Is it boxes? Is it social? What is graphic design? Graphic design is anything and everything that shows and tells what you are to the world, tells them why you're in business, why you're one of a kind, and why they should want to talk to you. That's big stuff. This graphic design safety net, a business safety net that is a graphic design safety net, is right there on your shoulder with you through every powerful decision you want to make. I promise you that you will leave this room with the tools that you need to figure out if you should build a graphic design safety net. In the next 52 quick little minutes, we're going to talk about why a safety net helps you accelerate growth, protect your top client relationships, attract and hire top talent, a huge deal, train and retain the team that you have, please don't lose them. And what about creating cohesive experiences for your clients and your prospects? And here's my favorite one, helping you breathe a little bit easier. It does this because graphic design, a safety net, creates a loop. Here's what it starts with. It starts with that creative, that clear, that message, that clear visualization of what sets you apart. If you don't have that, I don't care how organized you are, you're not organizing the right stuff. So that would lead you to the next piece, which is organizing it, systematized together and put together in a way that has protocols and processes. And what that does is that leads to a team that feels confident, to a team that is reaching for the right materials, the team that knows what to use when, knows why to use it. And guess what that leads to? Well, it leads to accelerated growth. And if you have accelerated growth, guess what? You're going to need more messaging. So this is the safety net. Do you like my net? Isn't that stunning? Made that myself. Okay, look at this graphic for 1 minute. But as a result of having your safety net, feel this, all of your creative pieces are going to look, feel, and be on brand, on time, on target, on budget, on the server, or in the cloud, where they belong. Does that feel good? Would this give you a greater peace of mind? graphic design safety net, let's look at it. The real work is done by the arrows because the arrows glue it all together. If you have creativity over here in a silo, organization over here in a silo, and your team over here in a silo, you've got the same problem in a different color. What I want you to think about is when every single piece puts together, you trust your client, you trust your safety net, and that means you trust your team. When everything in your business is on message and consistent, your clients, how many of you have top clients? Come on, let's try that again. How many of you have top clients? Picture them. You want to lose them? You want to get that phone call that says, we've decided we're going to go in a different direction. You know what that means? That means you didn't take care of the relationship. When those top clients who were with you when you were little, don't peek in that envelope. I'm going to tell you when to open that envelope. Put that, no, right on the table, mister. There we go. I will tell you when to open that envelope. Thank you. Okay, here's the thing. When those top clients of yours, when they understand your growth plans and they're not afraid of your growth plans, they will support your growth plans. You're not going to lose them. When your message, look around you guys. Look at you. I'm going to tell you about your message, and the people in this room are responsible for over $150 billion of assets under management. Please understand that is not at all intimidating, standing up here, not a bit. What you want to think about and what you have to pay attention to, and I know you're very, very savvy. I know you know what it takes to grow your business. What you need, however, is to understand that growing your business through clear, creative, unique, and consistent visual branding and design assets is going to give you that foundational safety net. Why do you need one? You guys are great. Why do you need a safety net? This could be the part where you talk. Why do you need a safety net? I don't know, Randy, you haven't told me yet. Why? Anything ever go wrong? I'm going to tell you something. You need a safety net because even in businesses as amazing as yours, stuff happens. Things go wrong because even for a practice like yours, everything can get really messed up when you don't have one. Let's play a game. Does this sound familiar? Elaine, she's your event planner. You're having a golf outing. Elaine found in the closet some old collateral. She was looking for something for the golf balls. She thought that was wonderful collateral. She used it for your press release. So everything was out of date. Oops. Lots of versions of your logo exist, okay? By this point in time, you got a lot of them. Actually, though, none of those logos are the right logo for the guy who's doing those 200 golf hats at $24 a pop, okay? But it's okay, because he says to you, don't worry, we'll fix it. Take that off your plate. Take it off your plate, because now in your office by your desk is a box of 200 hats in the wrong blue with the logo that's too wide. Oh, familiar? Think about that process graphic that you worked on so hard 3 years ago. Now, you know there are some new services that you offer. They're not in that graphic anymore, but it's okay, because you took it out of that compliance-approved PowerPoint. You just talk through that part. It's all fine. Dave is your client experience director. Dave hires Andrew, hypothetically, a YouTube marketing firm. I don't know whether Andrew's that big in his dollars or not, but it's okay. But what does Dave do? Dave gives him the PowerPoint from the server. And they think that process graphic of yours is so incredibly cool. They don't use it in one video. They use it in 5. But it's okay because you just hired Scott from an agency across town. Yay. It's very exciting. Scott is raring to go. Scott pulls yet another version of that PowerPoint off the server, but it's okay because Scott bumps into Vice President Karen in the break room and she says, you better check. There've been changes with the PowerPoint. Scott thinks she said, even though it's a nice save for Karen, Scott thinks she says, you better change the PowerPoint. So Scott says to you, I want to show you the PowerPoint I've been working on before I send it to compliance. Oh, sure. Wait. Compliance? What did you do? Well, he proudly shows you. Breathe. And now I'm going to tell you something. You're going to look at this PowerPoint, and it is going to be like Monty Python. Completely different than anything you've had. But it's on brand for the firm Scott left. Ringing any bells? Any of this ever happened to you, or have you just read about this stuff? Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you ever play telephone? You don't say? That's the problem. We don't say. But a graphic design safety net is going to act like those gutters on a bowling alley. They're going to keep everybody in your lane. And the key is a safety net's going to catch Elaine and Scott and Dave and Karen and you. It's going to catch you. And when it does, you can confidently delegate. And that's a big deal. It's a very big deal. So let's take a look. On your tables, now we can go to the table. On your table, there's some little blue, not the envelope yet. There's a little bunch of cards on your table, some little blue pens. Here's what I want you to do. This is your pocket card. There are 3 categories up there. I'm going to flash something on the screen to you. And what I want you to do is I want you to pick the one area of these 3 that keeps you up the most at night. Is it to grow and keep your top clients? Or is it to find and keep those right fit new clients? Or are you all stressed out about attracting and hiring the right fit new talent? Now, some of you are going to say to me, all 3, Randy, put me down for all 3. Guess what? Pick one. If you could fix one thing of these 3, that could be your main priority, your main focus for listening today. The rest of this card, jot down your ideas. Like Brian said, was that just this morning? When Brian said this morning, pick your big ideas, write them down. Do it while we're here together, because I guarantee you, you're going to hear, I know who's coming next. You're going to hear some amazing people. This is going to leave you. I know that's shocking, but it's going to leave you, but your ideas won't if you jot them down. Okay, take a look at these 3. Let's figure this out. But let me ask you a question. Okay, I got these big 3 things up here. Seriously, can graphic design really help you to retain your top clients, to find great new leads, and to hire amazing people? Can it do that? The short answer is absolutely it can, with one condition. You have to show up and lead this. You have to play. But don't panic. I want you to understand when. Randy, come on, I'm stretched already. Besides, I have a team of people who does this for me. Of course you do. Of course you have a team. Your team will be very involved, but your team needs you. For this to work, you have to drive. The only time I need your presence, however, is at very strategically critical times. And when you know what those times are, that's when you come in And when those times aren't, that's when you stay away. Okay, let me tell you why it matters. If you are not laser focused on your vision at these critical times, I promise you, without a doubt, you will end up with the most beautiful, the most stunning and amazing and fabulous, absolutely wrong solutions. Because it's your vision. And if you're not there to do it, here's what everybody's doing. I don't know, they're throwing darts. It's pin the tail on the donkey. I don't know, maybe he means this. You know, last year we did something like this. He didn't like it at all. Let's not try it. You gotta be there. I've got a few numbers for you. I want you to think about this. What would you say, what would you say if I said to you, all you need is 180 minutes. Look what's coming on the screen. 180 minutes over 90 to 120 days, less time than a round of golf to make a difference. How's that sound? Too good to be true? Again, nodding, shaking heads, give me something. Hello? I know it's afternoon. You were supposed to have coffee out there. All right, come on. 120 days. How long is that, my friends who live in quarters? That's a quarter in a month, right? That's not that long. Think about what you accomplished in the last 120 days. Move the clock back. Did you get done a big, fat goal like this? In this process, you could. With the right process and the right who, it happens. Okay, let's look at your playing field. Remember this guy? Remember Karnak? Okay. Meet Ranak. Okay. Karnak, for those of you who don't remember, God, you have to remember, some of you don't remember, but Karnak would hold up an envelope and he would say, what is blue, green, burgundy, or gray? Then it would fade away. He'd go, and he would say, why, it's the brand identity of most wealth advisory practices. Am I wrong? Anybody in here have blue in their identity? You don't have to raise your hand. Green, burgundy, gray, a mushed combination of all of them. Who's radical with a dash of orange? I'm going to stand out. I'm going to be orange. Think about it. You guys are the elite. And you have this issue. And it's even worse for you. Why is it worse for you? Any ideas? Guess what? It is worse for you because you are one of the practices everybody else is copying. They're looking at what you do because you were successful and they're saying, oh, I'm going to do what Brian does. Oh, I'm going to do, these guys, they've done really well. Let's look like them. Imitation may be a wonderful form of flattery, but you're not here to be flattered. You're not running your business to be flattered. You are in business to stand out your way and, listen to the difference, lead your practice forward its way. So for that to happen, you need to think like your clients, think like your prospects, think like all those people you want to hire. And what are they seeing? They're seeing the same colors. We've established that. And they're seeing the same services. And they're seeing the same products. And they're hearing the same stories. Do you know why? Because this is where you live. You live in a sea of similarity. It's where you live. And not only are you in an industry that is a sea of similarity, it's riddled with complexity. You have more abbreviations, more letters, more certifications. I took just 3 letters from the alphabet. Let's just look at it for a minute. Oh, here we go. Registered Investment Advisory. Bing. move it around. Now, we have investment advisory representative. Once more, oh, here's one I know. It's IRA. I heard about it at work. I got one more for you. Think we're done? Come on. What about this one? Oh, it's air. It's what you sell. You're asking people to buy air. Absolutely invisible reality for appropriately impactful returns. Am I wrong on that one? Don't think so. In a sea of similarity and complexity, you know in your bones, because you're here, you know you have to stand out as only you can your way. Now, this is a lot easier said than done. Do you know what a lot of advisory practices do? They try so hard to stand out, and actually, they're making it worse with what I call the and approach. Oh, we do this, we do that, we do this, we have that, and oh, if you don't need that, we have this too. What are you doing? You're adding complexity. Additional services, additional products don't differentiate. What do? They commoditize. You and everyone down the street can handle a 401k, can handle a 529. Amazon provides everything. Neiman Marcus and Costco, two places I know well. I do span the spectrum. Neiman Marcus and Costco do not. Costco is amazing, and it only carries 410 products. Did you know that? Don't tell my husband how I know that. Think about it, though. When you have a graphic design safety net, when you are in a situation where you stop with all the ads, and instead you pull it way back, and you think only about creating an initial message, and that message talks about why your firm is so committed, why do you get up every morning to do what you do? Why are you so committed to your clients like nobody else? You know that answer, do they? How is your firm uniquely qualified to add value, add support, provide the right experience? When you distill it all down to this, guess what happens? Your audience hears you. And to start, keywords, because I can hear the pushback, to start, this is just enough information. You want to be like Jerry Maguire. You want to have him at hello. When your initial differentiating message is clear, concise, and wait for it, when it's brief, your confidence comes through, your initial messages are remembered, they stand out in a sea, and they foster trust. Okay. So, really, Randy? Graphic design safety net? It's going to help my wealth advisory? So tell me, Missy in the red leather pants, why should I believe you? I got 3 reasons for you. Number 1, a lot of wealth advisory practices work with Just Call Randy. They do graphic design safety nets with us. Do you know why? Because not only does a safety net work in industries that are far less riddled with challenges and complexities and restrictions and limits and obstacles than yours, which frankly is every other industry on the planet, this safety net works in your sea of similarity and complexity. Second reason is because it works in the sea of complexity, the sea of similarity, our experience shortens the advisory's learning curve. Because we already know your industry, practices make faster process, so they like to do this process. We can see where you are and where you want to be in that sea. We already got the context, so we can pinpoint. We can pinpoint how you're unique very quickly. Now, the third reason is much more personal to me. I know the power of graphic design. I know what it can do for you. I also know the power of what you do. I know the power of having a wealth advisory practice. I want you to know, I had a wealth advisor long before I had any wealth. That's right. I actually met this man. Meet David. This is David, 1991, a little younger than today. David was part of a very big company, started with an M. And David got to me in the only way anyone would ever get to me. He offered me something to help my business. David he created and managed the 401k for, wait for it, this was me in 1991. No comment. Well, I still have big shoulders. David advised me how to get wealth. David advised me how to grow wealth, how to share it, how to protect it, and how to use it well. Since then, David's taken wonderful care of what he calls a portfolio so that I, as a designer, can do what I call a portfolio. So I have relied on David's wisdom since 1991. Here's us today. Ready? Notice I'm the only one who embraced hair dye. And also notice that I am probably single-handedly responsible for many of his silver fox gray hairs, and I own that. But how does this happen? It happens because of a graphic design safety net. And I named this process, are you ready? I changed it just for you. And I call it the David factor, the 180 process. One of the most powerful things David taught me, and this is probably going to matter to you, as one of his long-standing clients, guess what? I haven't noticed his growth. I've been with this man since 1991, and I haven't noticed. His company is 4 times its original size. But as a client, I don't feel their growth. I only benefit from it. And what David has done with me allows me to be up here with you because I don't have to play with those big publishing companies anymore. Don't tell them I said that. I get to play with other entrepreneurs. Okay, so let's look at this process. It has 6 steps. There's your golf ball. We're going to look at each one. We clarify it, we scope it, we create it, we scale it, we direct it, and we trust it. And I'm going to zip you through these steps. Clarify. That's what it's about. We figure it out in what we call a 10 meeting. 10 minutes on how you want to do it, 10 minutes on why, 10 minutes on what we can do together. And if you decide that a graphic design safety net is for you, something else can happen. Let me ask you a question. Show of hands, and I expect very few to be up. How many of you, with all your numeric wizardry, I'm sure everyone in this room has a budget. I know this. How many of you have a line item in that budget called graphic design stuff to do with Randy or someone else? Did you start out 2025 saying, I better add a category for graphic design? You don't have it. So as a result of clarifying it, you're going to have to figure out if you think this is for you, you're going to have to figure out how to fund it. And so guess what our process does? Our process says, well, you set the budget. You know your business. We know what we can do, but we're not going to tell you that. We'll give you ranges. We'll give you things to look at, but you make that call. Once you set that budget, and you can even do this between now and Wednesday, hypothetically, if you saw Erin at our booth, I'm just saying, you can figure that piece out. Because once you do that, you have to do exactly what they do on Grey's Anatomy, which is you have to pick your person. You pick that person on your team that you trust implicitly, that knows you, that's going to find you, that can communicate with me, and that's going to find you in that bathroom when you need to sign off on something, and is going to help your team by being a cheerleader. So the 30 minutes we meet together, You approve the proposal that aligns to your budget. You say go. And when you say go, we create. All you need to do is show up for 3 10-minute approval meetings because your person and I do all that heavy lifting. 4th step, once those pieces are approved and produced, whether it's print or digital or physical, it doesn't matter. It's time to scale. Because I'm sure I would be delighted if someone came up and said, Randy, I want the whole enchilada. I want to redo everything. You guys are going to take this in waves. I'm going to put a little toe in that water. Let's just see what graphic design can do. I'm going to do a little bit. That's wave 1. That's a very, very smart way to start. Because not only do we learn you learn about graphic design, because your job is to direct it. How many of you were the star of your business? How many of you were the big fat rainmaker everyone called you? All right, granted, this is coming from a woman who called her company Just Call Randy. But that's what they do. They love Todd. They don't want to call Todd. They want Randy. What I want you to think about is in the directed part, you move from star to director. This is the system part. This is where we put that together. And finally, we get to the trust part. And this is where you have to trust and let go. You have to trust that the process is solid. And what happens in the trust part is not only do you trust your team, you build for your clients a cascade of trust. Remember this book? If you give a mouse a cookie, if you do this, then this, then this. Well, let me tell you about David's cascade of trust. I trust David, right? Worked with him since 1991. I also trust Corey and Mary and Marcy because David trusts Corey, Mary, and Marcy. I trust Nick because Corey trusts Nick. And I trust Corey because David trusts Corey. And I trust David. And so it goes. This trust gives your team, gives you, and gives your clients confidence in that accelerated growth you're here today to accomplish. And it gives you the time to breathe, to focus, and to dream up what's next. But even with a fabulous safety net, I have to tell you, stuff happens. Okay, see this image? Day before I left to come here, that big, fancy, expensive Canon took a nap. I had nothing. I had to have some agility, which I handled with extreme calm and grace. Do not ask my staff. Okay, here's the deal. This is your process if you want to look at this. 180 minutes, you see how it's broken down. Okay, you can always invest more time than that, but you don't have to. You can still come away with a fabulous wave 1 with only 180 minutes or 1 golf game. Okay, Randy, so what do we get? What's behind door number 2? You're telling me this is a great process. You're telling me why. What does it look like? Let's play my favorite game, without graphic design and with graphic design. Here's an example. You tell me. This is without graphic design. We're going to send out an email and put ourselves out there as the Social Security benefits expert. And we got this email, we wrote this email, we sent this email, a lot of text. Okay? So we think that's not good. Let's go to what I call download.gov. And we're going to find some article. Oh, look, it's got a picture of a Social Security card. People are going to recognize that. Still, it's got blue heads. Blue, mind you, just saying. A lot of text still. Okay. What about using some of that mind mapping software? Look at this, no text. But I got 9 different sections with some really big words I don't understand. I can't look at this without you sitting across the table pointing, okay? But now, let's say, what happens with graphic design? Well, graphic design begins with the message. It's not about the color yet. We will talk color. It begins with the message, it begins with the content, it begins with the strategy. So what does that look like? That says, okay, let's move from Social Security. Do you really, really want to be the expert on Social Security? What if we cast a wider net and it's all about retirement? We would then talk to you and interview you and figure out that you truly are an expert in retirement. And we're going to put this into 3 sections, before, during, and after. We're going to create 6 topics. We're going to name them well, and notice how little that type is. This is what with graphic design looks like, because then we take that same information and we can build this. And we see our before, our during, our after. We see each of those sections and they're, oh my gosh, they're color-coded. I can look at this. Would you like this in your PowerPoint deck to explain what retirement might look like? Maybe. What if, in the process of doing all that, we unearthed so much information that you guys are brilliant about relative to retirement that your team could work with us to build a 48-page book? Not a massive book. It's not going to be on the New York Times bestseller list, but it's going to get you 80% of the way there. That's what graphic design looks like. Okay. So I promised you that at the beginning, you would leave here knowing what to do next, okay? Graphic design safety nets do one more thing. They leverage the messages you already have to visually clarify and enhance them. You've got stuff. How many of you have ever invested in making stuff? Don't tell me none of you has anything, because I'm going to ask for your card later and you're going to hand it to me, and that's stuff. You have spent money, time, energy. You've been stressed, you've been frustrated. It hasn't quite looked like you wanted to, but you've used it anyway because it went through compliance. So you already have stuff. Here's something. This is stuff without graphic design. This is what graphic design can do with that. This is how we take the same message and we arrange it differently. What about when people go through that fit deck and they say, I'm going to talk to you about all these things. Do you want to travel? Do you want to go to the beach? What do you want to do? Tell me what you need. Tell me what you want. Tell me who you are. What if it looked like that? Would that be more compelling? Do you think you could get a conversation going if people could picture themselves? Probably. And there's one more thing a safety net does. Safety nets elevate those unique processes. Remember the process that he did and then the services didn't apply? Let's look at it. This is your basic run-of-the-mill financial planning process. This is what it could look like with graphic design. Every section comes in, the heads are strong, the letters work, the layers work. There you go. What if you took us even further? Oh, this is one. Wait, I'm going to make it spin. It's still without graphic design. What if it looked like this? And each section revealed itself as you spoke. It could go even further, and you could elevate it even more. And the thing that's so powerful about this, and I know you think it's the photos, it's not. It's in the middle, asking a question of that person sitting across from you that says, what matters most to you? Because that is what guides you through the entire rest of that conversation. And this not only lets them visually, we heard this morning about how it's important to be visual. We're all terribly visual. That did not depress me one bit, by the way. But they need to stare at that. They need to digest that as you're talking. Okay. Now, safety net does one other thing. Sure, it clarifies, it simplifies, it unifies. It also very well might justify for you a smart growth investment. What's that look like? Right now, this is what it is. It's monopoly money because this is what you have in your budget. What's that ROI? What does that look like? I was going to replace the envelope art. Do you see this? It's a revision in progress. All right, I'm going to give you 3 things. Now you can look in your envelopes. Let's go, table 1. You were ahead of everyone. Inside there, oh, thank you, Karnak. You will find 3 documents. The very first one is a safety net plan of action. And what I want you to do with that is there are steps in there. Look at them. One leads to the next, leads to the next. Okay? The next thing you will see is something called, and there are 4 sets there, so if you only have one person at your table, leave the extras. If you don't have enough, we'll share at the end. The next thing is something called top 10 ideas. And the top 10 ideas, this graphic design safety net, this will show you the visual design options, not just the with and withouts that we talked about. And the third thing, and I'm sure some of you saw this article, there was an article about baby boomer women recently who are now deciding the fate of trillions of dollars. That's also your market, even if you're not working with that woman. In this article, you will see 70% of newly widowed women or independent, newly divorced women immediately, what's their first decision? A new wealth advisor. How do you protect that from happening? Come to the booth. This is a rare thing. Normally when I speak, I leave. Sometimes when we have a booth, we're at the booth, I leave. Thanks to Brian and Brittany, not only do I get to talk to you, I also get to show you things. So I want you to come to our booth. And at our booth, you're going to get one of these. This is what I call a booth in a box. Everything in here, see this little red circle? You'll see a chart by our booth. It has your name on it. Come to the booth, get your box, your little circle. Gets you in a little red bag so that you have samples of everything. That's not all that's at the booth. Got 2 more things. We have EWAS only discounts. And trust me when I say to you, they will be gone Wednesday night before I get on the plane. So, a graphic design safety net. What do you think? What do you think about this? We talked about a process. Oh, here we go. Here are the steps. You told me why. You can set your own budget. I have to ask you, does that appeal? Does it appeal? Is not knowing what this stuff costs produce a little anxiety? You can talk now. Somebody? Okay, why? Why?
Fear of the ROI.
Fear of the ROI or fear of the ROI? Right? How many of you have ever renovated a house? How many of you know where your left and your right shoe is? I don't. I haven't been in my house since May. Yes, I bought these pants new. The reality is, when you renovate, I'm going to test level with you for a minute. They came to me and they said, well, you know, for the powder room, we found a vanity for $8,000. What? $8,000? I don't think so. That was in November. I chose to ignore that situation for quite some time. And then they came back again in the beginning of January and they said, you know, Randy, you have to pick a vanity. And I said, you know, Gina, I'm going to Wayfair. I'm not getting an $8,000. She goes, well, we found one for $4,000. I said, keep going, you're not there yet. So fine. I find vanities on Wayfair at 2:30 in the morning. I take screenshots. I send 4 of them to them. And they turn around and they say to me, oh, we like the one with the brass pulls. Okay. $899. Thank you very much. Free delivery. Very excited. But then Susan, the project manager, said, Randy, no, don't have this here yet because we don't have anywhere to put it. Just wait till the beginning of February. Seriously, I'm a little busy at the beginning of February. Last week, she said, you know what, you can go ahead and order it now. So I pressed the button. Of course, now it's $1,062. Fine. My husband Bob says to me, honey, we got a change order from Susan. For what? Well, now that it has brass pulls, there's something about hardware for $1,200. I said, excuse me, why would I spend $1,200 for a faucet for a $900 that didn't go up? Vanity. In a bathroom we're going to use when we come in, wait for it, from the garage. So I said, no. So you know what today's email was? So then you want us to go with the chrome? No. I'm going to Home Depot. I'm going to pick my own. And I want you to know it won't fit. It'll be wrong. The return time will expire, and I won't be able to buy it. I won't be able to return it. So you can come to my house and see it in my garage anytime. But the reality is, that is an out-of-control experience for me. Graphic design is an out-of-control experience for you. Yeah? So how do you cross over? How do you figure that out? You figure it out by figuring out, when you look at a client, a potential client, and somebody's sitting across from you, how long does it take you to say, okay, I want this client? How long? How many minutes into that little initial conversation? Shout me sometimes. 10 minutes? 15 minutes? 5 minutes? Obviously your mics aren't working. How many minutes? Okay, it's fast. That's important. It's really, really important to know, because if you know you want that prospect to become a client, is your posture different? Is your trust level different? Is your confidence in your ability to turn around and say, I know I can help them. I know I can figure this out for them. I know I can add value to them. Okay, same thing is true. I gotta tell you, you may have $150 billion in assets under management. I don't have that in my purse. But other than the cash in my purse, understand me, I don't manage my money. I do manage my Visa card, just so you know. But the reality is, I get an expert to help me. How many of you put on your own roof? Anybody in here build a roof? Put on your own roof? All right, you can't sit in the front anymore. This is Wednesday, you're gonna have to sit over there. Here's the issue. Most of us are not experts with the people we hired to be experts for us, right? So what do we have to do? We have to trust. And how do you trust? Did you ever hire a roofer and say, well, he wore plaid, he looks good. He looks like he could climb a ladder. That's no way to make a decision. You guys, I am sure, research information for a living. You compare things, you analyze things, you make good choices. Ask questions. You look at what's in that safety net process, those 5 little steps. You can work through that, get clear. You could take that clarity to any designer. Randy, I have someone on my staff who does this. Great. Randy, we go to 5 or, oh, don't. But Randy, my sister-in-law's nephew's friend is studying to be a graphic designer. Okay. Each of those experiences are exactly what they sound like. You have to decide how you're going to research and figure it out. That's one of the reasons why I say, if you want to do a 10-10, if you want to practice with me, whether you come to us, whether you go to a different graphic design firm, mind you, I wouldn't mind auditioning for the part. But the reality is, if you want to do this, practice. Practice, look at what you're going to set as your goals. Look at how your assets connect to them. Look at what you need to produce. Figure out your wave 1 and set a budget that makes sense. And if you do that, you are going to be so clear about what you want. You know, somebody told me something once, which was do what only you can do better than anybody else. Anybody in here in strategic coach? Yay. Anybody know unique ability? Yay. Same thing. Yes, I am in coach. Okay, the reality is you have to know what you do really, really well, and you have to find others who do everything else really, really well. And one of the things you have to do what you do in your line of work well is you have to be prepared, and you have to be clear. Any of you go into a fit meeting by the seat of your pants? I didn't think so. Do your homework. Do your homework here too. You'll figure out the right fit. I respect and value what you do, but I don't try it at home. I want you to think. I want you to think about whether this will add value to you. I want you to find the right person to color on your behalf. What about that ROI? Where's my clicker? What about that ROI? You get to set it. How great is that? What about the fact that maybe your shoulders aren't feeling quite as heavy as they did? I hope. Because what I'm going to say to you is this. How do you feel about that rain now? Is weather growing on you? I want you to think about this. I also have the ability to see you on Wednesday. And on Wednesday, we're going to talk about 3 graphic design strategies you can take with you in that suitcase out the door and use on Thursday morning. Trust me, there will be props. And yes, you can sit right there because I like looking at you. Okay, if you decide you want to do this, click the code, get a 1010, sit down with me. I will help you figure it out. If you pick up that plan of action and say, Randy, I don't know what I'm doing with it, don't worry. Show up, I'll give you a pen, I'll help you figure out what those big priorities are. I promise you, just call Randy is not going to work with everyone in this room, nor should we. That's not appropriate. But if there's a fit, and you want to be part of that, what I call Randy's Wealth Advisory Practice Posse, company, well, it's true. Well, come on, Barry. It's true. The thing is, you want to be able to hopefully, ultimately, just call Randy. She'll figure it out. Maybe. And if you do, I would be honored to explore the possibility with you. Other than not talking when I asked you to talk, you were amazing today. I want you to work on this for Wednesday, because when I ask you questions Wednesday, we're going to be waiting for answers. You are rock stars. I'm honored to be here. Thank you.